welcome to this episode of Survival Guys. So, I don't know if you've ever heard of cooking in a hole, but basically you light a fire in a 18 to 24 inch deep hole, let that burn down to embers and really hot red coals, and then basically what you do is you just set, like in my example, I'm going to use a potato. I'm just going to set a potato in there, let it cook for a while. So that is what we are going to be doing today. So what you're going to need is a shovel. Takes a lot of digging. Set that there. And then you're going to need a hatchet right there, and then some kindling and tinder right there. And then instead of using kindling and tinder, small fuel and then large fuel or main fuel, like bigger logs, you're going to be using smaller ones the whole time, which my pile looks like that. So my average piece is about that long. It's about, so it's about this size. And then I have a hole down here, and it looks like that, right down in there, and it comes back here too. So that hole, I'd say, is about 18, 20 inches deep. So first you need to light a fire. Be very careful with fire. I also may be using a knife in this video. Always be very careful with knives. Carve away from yourself, which you will hopefully see me doing, and not toward myself. So I'm going to be using matches to light a fire. Kenez, I hope you know who he is, just put the video about how to make these matches that I'm going to be using out in the last week. That is a very new video. Check out that video if you haven't already. Let's get our fire started. Here I have my bucket of tinder and kindling and my box of matches. Again, always be very careful with matches. I forget if I already said that or not, but just to make sure, always be very careful with matches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build what I call a log cabin right here. Basically, it's like making a tic-tac-toe shape. Basically, you're laying a branch this way, and then this way. You can do an outside log cabin, which basically surrounds your fire. So you would make these maybe like 2 feet long or something like that, so that you can put them around your fire. But this one, fall in the hole here. But this one is just small, so that will help me catch my stuff on fire. And then since the ground right here is moist, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some branches or some little flat sticks and lay them down underneath here, kind of to form a platform. They will burn up then, but by that time hopefully the ground underneath will be dry and the fire will be big enough to keep it going. So I'm just going to keep building that. Once I built my log cabin and put my platform in, I'm going to take a bunch of these little sticks, no thicker than your pinky finger, and stick these, and about as long as your pointer finger, and stick these in here, so that these will be what catch on fire, and then I'll have some bigger sticks that will build the fire bigger. I have a bunch of them in here yet. I need to make sure I have a place for my match to go, and I forgot about that and don't have a place. So that is enough. I am now going to take my match that I have here. Watch that other video to see how to make these. I'm going to remove my gloves so that those don't catch on fire, and get myself in a good position to where I can lower the match down in here, and I'm going to light the match. Now as soon as that is in there, I'm going to take some of these branches that are laying, or little sticks and twigs that are laying in here, and I'm going to put those on top of the flame. Don't use branches, preferably don't use branches wider than 1/4 of an inch when doing this right here, because they don't burn super well. They don't really catch fire. So that's just a tip. I have made another video that is not put out yet about lighting a fire, especially in snowy or cold and damp conditions. So I'm just gonna build this fire up bigger till it's big using the smaller branches and stuff. So the reason for that is because it burns down into coals faster and better, easier, and all that stuff. So I will be back with you once my fire is bigger and I'm ready to put the potato on. Okay, so my fire is now nice and big. I'll show you what it should look like in a minute. I think you can probably hear it crackling and popping. I'll try not to drop you guys in the fire. But I have used up all my wood. There's still some over there on the ground, but that stuff is too big. I'm not going to burn it. This is doing exactly what I wanted. I'm super happy. I think, was there anything else I wanted to tell you? So I used little logs, and my fire is doing exactly what I want it to. You can't see it super well, but instead of big logs like those over there, right in there, I'm using these littler logs here, and they're burning up exactly what I want, or how I want them to. I'll show you guys in a little bit what the coals look like when I'm done. This fire's been going for no more than 20 minutes, probably. I'd be surprised if it was 20 minutes. So, yep, I will see you back in probably 10 minutes, or half a second for you. Okay, so, that actually went a lot better than I thought it would. So my fire now looks like that. It's just smoking. For you it looks white, but there's actually a lot of burning orange coals there. I maybe chopped it up with my hatchet a little bit too late, or too early, sorry. Because if you chop it, because it's going to be burning and it's going to look like a bunch of black and red sticks, and a little bit of white too. Don't chop them up right away until you can, don't do this, but until you would be able to touch them and break them. So they should be that easy to break. So I chopped it up. I maybe chopped it up a little bit early, but I'm going to go ahead, get my potato, and put that on the fire. Okay, so I have my potato here. I showed you this earlier. I'm going to go ahead, stick that on there, and then you can grab a shovel and kind of take some of this other stuff. Be careful not to put it out, but just kind of cover it up. Be careful because it's a potato, so you don't want to ruin your food. So leave that to cooking for about 30 minutes to an hour, I think, is a good temperature, or a good length. And then if you want your potato to be a little crunchy, I guess don't leave it on as long. But so if you build your fire a little bit bigger than I had mine, you'll have more coals to cover it up with, and you can do a bigger meal. Another way to do it is you can put your coals down there, and then green leaves soaked in water, like fresh from a tree soaked in water, on top of the coals, and then your meal, then more green leaves in water, then more coals, and then some rocks, and then some dirt on top. And then that will cook. That takes a little bit longer to cook, I think. I haven't actually done it that way before. I've just done it this way. So I will see you back whenever my potato's done cooking. So I think my potato is probably done cooking now. So how you're going to take this out, I'm going to use a hatchet. The flat side here works as a perfect spatula. So I'm just going to kind of throw these things aside. This out without smashing it and see if I can. If I can't scoop it up, I have a stick here that I can help get this out and set that on there. And then, so what you're going to do is you're just going to check and see if that is done, and hopefully you enjoy a good meal. Thank you for watching this episode of Survival Guys.